is there any expectation, because there will be an empty cabinet slot? Is there any expectation from the lake now that there will be an empty cabinet slot, and there might also be an empty position in parliament? Because it is being said, and this is allegations, it's
Correct.
not, it's being said that Kimani Ichung'wah may be pushed to that position in the cabinet,
yes,
and then there will be an open slot for a majority leader in parliament.
Who are like Engineer Sudi, but a lot of those people are lawyers. So I would venture to say that I actually see, if things are correct and they line up the way that they would be lining, and I don't know if you would say this is Otinda Molo's way back. I don't know.
Yes, and I did not want to mention that name, but that's a name that's been...
I don't know. I mean, he's kind of been active in a way, but not active, but then quiet, but then and...
You were right last week that DP Gachagua stood no chance of survival. I want you to start by telling us, despite Gachagua being removed from office, as you correctly predicted, what is it that surprised you the most during this week's impeachment trial? Mika, twende kazi.
Ali, to your question, what was I surprised about that sitting? What I was surprised about, I wouldn't say surprised, because I wasn't really expecting it, but the level of which the defense presented their case, and by the defense it means Gachagua's lawyers, the level by which they defended their case, the levels by which they presented it, and you could clearly see that they were prepared on defending their client. It's only unfortunate that this is it is a political trial. It's not a criminal trial or a social trial that was being prosecuted against the auspice of a regular court, and it just shows that I think there needs to be a way in which we can separate there's something that can be separated. In that, have you ever seen an innocent person being ilikuwa kesi ya Yesu? Like, there's only going to be one answer, right? Remember when Jesus was being persecuted? The answer was just, we need to crucify him. We don't care. You gave us Barnabas, we'll take Barnabas the thief, but we want to kill this guy. That's it. This one is just, this guy needs to go. This guy needs to be impeached, and he needs to go. My surprise was the move that they pulled last minute of Gachagua becoming sick.
Okay,
I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
I honestly didn't see that coming. I didn't expect something like that to happen. I expected maybe him dropping bombshells during the close examination, but I didn't expect that coming. Now we have a political limbo in the country. It seems like we have two vice presidents.
Now, do you think that move of Gachagua being sick, do you think it was honest, or do you think it's a pit maneuver they pulled because they did not want Gachagua to be cross-examined by Siaya Governor James Orengo? Mika?
I don't believe it's a pity movement. Yeah. What I believe is they were trying to bring constitutional
crisis,
abortion, a crisis. Basically, what they wanted to do. Remember, the Senate settings are based on time. And if they would have gone beyond the time without impeaching him, then his impeachment would have been none. And
so you can't impeach.
And then if he was going to push the sitting to continue, again, he was going to cause some illegalities in that process by delaying the process of it. And I think also they were trying to find a way in maybe him not being there, they can get away that because he didn't get across cross-examination, then they can produce an illegality again there. So for me, I don't think it was anything to do with pity. For me, I think it was a shrewd move by a shrewd lawyer who expected to be able to push this thing into long grass. At the end of the day, that was happening in litigation, especially in litigation that involves a a lot of stake, let's say corporations or litigations that you put a litigation against rich individuals, and it's something that they usually just tend to get good lawyers, and good lawyers push it into long grass, kick it in long grass, take time, slow it down. And we've had governors who were and MPs who were in court throughout their whole term of impeachment. So I think this was just another strategy that they were trying to pull in, something like that.
Okay, asante sana, Mika. So now I want to come back to studio and go to Omosh. And Omosh, I'll come back and ask an uncomfortable question that unfortunately we have to ask because of the way Kenyan politics is. What are people in the Lake saying following Gachagua's impeachment and Kindiki's nomination? Is there any political expectation that the region has about this monumental shift? DJ Moshfa.
Lakeside. What were Lakeside? To be honest, this is just one in many things for people of the lake. But again, big picture-wise, because if you say from people of the lake perspective, no one from the lake has gained from this move. In terms of, if you're saying that there was a gain, there is no gain. Where is the gain?
But was there an expectation of something? Like, let's say...
No. Not
yeah.
at all. There was talk initially that this is Baba's roundabout way of coming back, and CG forget AU.
No, that was just that was idle people. That was idle people.
Yeah,
story Jaba.
Yeah.
Correct. That's why I said there was talk, but from a lakeside perspective, it makes no difference because when you think about it, the power axis starts and stops in one point. As long as you have access to that point, then everything else that you need is a trickle-down effect.
Okay.
Meaning it's going to come either it'll come your way if you're in the path or it won't. So from a lakeside perspective, this really did not make any difference.
Okay. But is there an expectation? Because now with the movement, we have Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki moved to the Deputy President position. And of course, acknowledging also there is this limbo because of the court ruling that came where there's a possibility that Rigathi Gachagua might still be Deputy President based on that court order that was issued.
He is.
Yeah. So, okay, with Kindiki being moved, let's say like Kindiki successfully sworn in as the Deputy President.
Correct.
Is there any expectation, because there will be an empty cabinet slot, is there any expectation from the Lake now that there will be an empty cabinet slot and there might also be an empty position in Parliament? Because it is being said, and this is allegations, it's
correct.
It's being said that Kimani Ichung'wah may be pushed to that position in the cabinet.
Yes.
And then there will be an open slot for a majority leader in Parliament.
Again, if we are to go with that narrative, then if you're shifting chess pieces, then you, at that point you say, okay, that if you're just the way they've always done regional disbursements,
yes,
then that would mean that Lakeside would
get something.
Yeah.
Would it necessarily be Lakeside, or it will be ODM?
I would say,
because I honestly see.
I would say ODM, and then
I
depends
see ODM,
on
not Lakeside.
Okay, the reason why I am saying Lakeside is because if you say ODM, right, and then you start looking at the disbursements within ODM, like who are the people who are sitting, right?
Yeah.
Then if you're not gonna go honestly within Lakeside, then you might say, okay, then maybe we go coast. Then you say, okay, if we go coast, then who in coast?
Yeah.
Right.
So
then you're like, okay, then if not, then you're like, but like in coast, Joho alipewa, sijui nini. So it's an interesting way that things would work, and the way that ODM normally works. It's interesting. This, to me, I think that this would possibly go Lakeside, but at the same token, whoever it is that's the majority, you want somebody who has tenure, is familiar, commands a presence, understands the constitutional law, or knows a lot of these things. And a lot of those guys are actually lawyers. A lot of those guys who are there are actually lawyers. In as much as we think there are some people who are like Engineer Sudi, but a lot of those people are lawyers. So I would venture to say that I actually see, if things are correct and they line up the way that they would be lining, and I don't know if you would say this is Otinda Molo's way back. I don't know.
Yes, and I did not want to mention that name,
I
but
don't
that's
know.
a name that's been.
I don't know. I mean, he's kind of been active in a way, but not active, but then quiet, but then and he had been pushed to the side, and you're like, why has this guy been sidelined? This guy is such a brilliant mind. Like, he should be doing other things, but with party politics,
yes,
there's so much that happens in there. Mpaka hata wewe mwenyewe unashangaa.
Because I think there's a maneuver that the president is trying to pull. I'm going to talk about it.